If you're giving your toddler choices and it's actually making things worse, there's a really important reason, and you're not doing anything wrong. In fact, you might be giving your toddler choices at the exact moment that your toddler can't handle them. And we hear it everywhere. Give your toddler choices. Choices prevent power struggles. Choices help toddlers feel in control. And sometimes that's absolutely true. But if you've ever offered choices and you've watched your toddler melt down harder, freeze, scream, completely stop listening, this video is for you. So parents are told to give choices for very good reasons. Choices can support autonomy, can reduce resistance. They can help kids feel respected instead of controlled. So if you are using choices, you didn't get bad advice. The problem isn't choices. The problem is when to use choices. When you offer your toddler a choice, you're actually asking them to do several things at one time. And we're going to go through those. They have to do multiple things like process language, hold 2 options or more in mind, imagine outcomes, regulate emotions, make a decision, and act on it. This requires a regulated thinking brain. Choices like hold my hand, or you can ride in the stroller, can work, but only when a child is regulated enough to choose. So if a toddler is already overwhelmed, overstimulated, or melting down, the choice isn't empowering. It's just one more demand. So when your toddler is upset, overwhelmed, scared, hungry, overtired, their thinking brain is not in charge. So when you offer choices in the moment, it doesn't feel empowering. It feels overwhelming. When that happens, this is what you see: screaming, refusal, I don't want either options, freezing, or a full-blown meltdown. A dysregulated nervous system doesn't experience choices as freedom. It experiences them as pressure. I'm going to give you a real example with a parent I have worked with in the past. Her son would refuse to get out of the car when they were coming home from preschool. And she did exactly what she was told to do from lots of mainstream parenting advice: give choices. So she offered choices. Do you want to get out of the car now or in a minute? Do you want to hold my hand or walk by yourself? Every time she offered choices, her child melted down harder. When she came to me, she said, choices don't work for my child. So the issue wasn't the choices themselves. It was when the choices were being offered. So let's look at the story of a toddler getting out of the car after preschool, and they're refusing to get out of their seat. Getting in or out of the car seat is a big transition. There's urgency. There's something that needs to be done next. There's a schedule. There's a plan. There's sensory input, and there's an ending happening. Maybe the child is relaxed in the car, and now they have to go in. They have to go do something else. That's a transition. Transitions don't just happen when getting out of the car. It could be leaving a desired playtime. They're playing with some Legos or some blocks, and they don't want to leave that. So for this child who was struggling to get out of his car seat, he didn't need choices to decide. He needed help transitioning. So I want us to think about how you feel when you're overwhelmed. So if you're overwhelmed and someone says, do you want option A or option B? And your body's already stressed, that's not helpful. That's irritating. So for toddlers, fear, hungry, sensory overload, transitions all reduce the brain's capacity to choose. So it's not that your toddler won't choose, it's that their nervous system can't. Now, this is important. Choices can work. Choices work when your child is regulated. The moment isn't urgent. Emotions are low. The system or the pattern that is happening feels predictable for your toddler. So in those moments, choices support cooperation beautifully. So now that we understand when our toddler is dysregulated or upset, choices may not work. So what do you do instead when your toddler's upset? So instead of asking your toddler to decide, your job is to reduce uncertainty. I'm going to give you a few examples of reducing uncertainty without creating overwhelm for your child. The first one is leading calmly. The second one is narrating what's happening. The third one is offering a transition anchor if helpful. The fourth one is using fewer words. The fifth one is holding a boundary without negotiating. So let's go through each one. Leading calmly. Leading calmly looks like this. It's time to get out of the car. I'm right here. I'll help you. You're not asking. You're not rushing. It's just clear, steady leadership. When the adult stays regulated, the child doesn't have to fight to feel contained. The second one, narrating what's happening. Narrating isn't explaining or persuading or convincing your child. It's just telling the story of what's happening. So an example would be sit on the potty, then play with with desired outcome. So sit on the potty, then toy, or then cuddling, or then snack. This kind of predictability reduces panic. The body relaxes because it knows what's coming next. When appropriate, you can use a transition anchor, like a first-then sequence. Holding a familiar object while moving, guaranteed regulation moment after the task. And sometimes this might work before the task. It depends. So first put your pull-up on, then we cuddle on the couch. First shoes, then you can have desired item. Okay, transition item. Maybe it's a favorite, desired, wanted, or familiar toy or item that they can bring to the car. So shoes on, then they get the item, then to the car. So when I say transition item, I mean it could be a teddy bear, toy pretend keys, Hot Wheels car, a squishy ball, anything like that. The important thing isn't the item itself. The anchor isn't a reward. It's a bridge to help your child transition using fewer words. So when toddlers are upset, they don't process and understand and comprehend full sentences. They hear key words. Now, depending on the age and development of your child, they may be able to understand more. But toddlers often, even when they're calm, are listening for key words, not full sentence comprehension. So instead of, okay, we really need to go now, get shoes on because we're running late, so get your backpack, get in your car seat now. Try this instead. Shoes, car, I'm here. First shoes, then toy and car, I'm here. Fewer words, less load on the nervous system. And the last one is holding the boundary without negotiating. So holding the boundary doesn't mean being harsh. It means not reopening or debating or engaging in a decision once it's already been made. So when we negotiate and debate during dysregulation, we often turn the moment into a power struggle. So there's a few different ways we can respond here. We can have calm certainty. I know you're upset. We're still going. I'll help you. We can use containment language. You don't have to like this. It's still happening. I'm here. So we're not abandoning them. We're still here for them. We're not abandoning them. We're not threatening them, but we are calm and clear in our leadership as a parent. Another option could be predictable authority. It's not up for debate. That's not an option. I'll help your body move. Or even strong-willed friendly. So we're acknowledging how they feel. They're going to push back, right? You can be mad. You're allowed to be upset. We're still doing this, or we're still going. This is still the plan. It doesn't change. Their feelings are valid, but it's not changing what's happening. And the key thing through all of this, what we just talked about, leading calmly, narrating what's happening, offering a transition anchor when appropriate, using fewer words, holding the boundary without negotiating. This is all focused on regulation before cooperation, because often I think that's where parents are burning their wheels out in power struggles. Is we want our children to comply right away. Our children need to regulate before they can cooperate. So here's a shift that really does change everything. Most parenting advice tries to change behavior. I help parents change the conditions the behavior is coming from. When you change the system, the nervous system can regulate. And when the nervous system regulates, listening becomes possible. And we all want to get our child to listen. I talk about this whole concept in the video called Why Everything with Your Toddler Turns into a Power Struggle. I will link it here above. So how understanding this changes tantrums and power struggles. This is why power struggles don't end by offering better choices. They end when the child no longer has to fight to feel safe. If choices hasn't been working for you, it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you've been asking your toddler to choose in a moment where their brain couldn't. The next time your toddler is starting to spiral, don't ask your toddler to choose. Lead calmly, reduce uncertainty, and notice how much less there is to fight. Because the shift isn't doing more or saying it better. It's changing the conditions, not giving choices when your toddler can't handle them, but giving them what they do need to be able to move forward and cooperate. So your child doesn't have to fight to feel safe, and you don't have to fight them back. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss my next helpful video. All right, parents, I'll see you in the next video.